Hi, I've been waiting for you. You've just clicked on the Just Do the Damn Thing podcast. My name is Angie, and welcome to a brand new episode. Before we jump in, though, I believe it's important to set a clear intention for anything that we do in life. I want to explain to you the intention behind this podcast. Whilst I'm not a licensed therapist or a counselor, what I do have is my own lived life experience. I have been through many ups and downs in life, and I've had to overcome quite a bit during that time. I've also learned to get stronger and stronger and more confident in my life and the decisions that I've made. I have been asked by friends, family, and strangers who have been impacted by my story to share it with other people. And that's how I started this podcast. And now on to the episode. Hi, everyone. I'm so excited today because I get to talk to you about one of my favorite subjects, which is choosing yourself first. I love seeing the light bulbs that go off in people's heads when they realize that choosing yourself isn't selfish. It isn't self-centered. Actually, it is making sure that you are filled with happiness and joy because you're pursuing the life that you want to pursue. Which, guess what? That makes you more kind and it makes you more generous because you are bringing a much more confident, happy energy into the world. And that affects the people in your life. So a big reason why we don't go after what we want and we don't fulfill our dreams is because we are so fearful of being judged. We care so much about what other people think of us that we just really have this block. Because if it doesn't align with what the majority of people are thinking, or if we're not going to get that approval or that validation that we're making the right decision, we dial it back or we discard what we really want to do. And that is so dangerous. It's dangerous for your future. And I know that dangerous might seem like an exaggerated word, but I don't think it is, because if we think about the world in which we live, where there's so much anxiety, there's so much depression, there's so much tension that we carry around with us. Often I wonder if you trace that back, doesn't it come down to feeling empty, feeling unfulfilled, and feeling that you don't have control? And so if you don't have control of your life, then the question then has to be, who does? Who does have control of your life if you don't? And that's something that, frankly, I just didn't get. When we're spending all of our effort and our energy looking at other people's lives and what they're doing, and we're comparing our lives to theirs, that's valuable time and energy that we're taking away from ourselves. And then even that keeps us stuck. So this is why the first step that I love to talk about on your journey to choosing yourself first is to find out who and what is holding you back. Because there's always a who or a what or a combination of both that are holding you back. Always, 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 always. So as you're listening to this, you might already know who those people are, or you might already know what that thing is, what you're afraid of, whose opinion you're afraid of, whose judgment you're afraid of, right? You probably know that. So I'm just going to kind of let the cat out of the bag. I know that some of you don't necessarily want to do the exercises that I say because it involves going to find a piece of paper and a pen and then sitting around a table, and it sounds like a lot of work, right? But there is so much research by thought leaders. This is not just Angie like making stuff up. I have researched this. I've had to read books and get to know like why successful people are successful. And they always 100% of the time talk about the importance of writing things down. Just thinking it in your head or writing it on your notes on your phone, that just doesn't work. And the reason why it doesn't work is because there's something that connects to your brain when your brain can see printed words on a piece of paper. And also when your pen is moving, it is sending messages to your brain, and that is being locked in. And just speaking out or thinking in your head about anything that is to do with your dreams and your life isn't enough. So while I can't force you and come to your house and make you get a piece of paper or a pen. And yeah, I know some of you are not in a position to write this down, but I'm going to empower you and tell you that you are in a position to listen to this later on when you do have a piece of paper and a pen. And you can come back right to this spot of the episode and start from here. I'm going to ask you to write down who or what is holding you back, because that is the answer to what your obstacles are. And you don't know how to maneuver around obstacles unless you know what those obstacles are. And you have to plan for that maneuver. You have to know who and what is getting in your way. It is so important for you to know what is getting in the way of your personal happiness and your personal growth. It is that important. It's so important. It's affecting your life. One of the things that was holding me back was this idea that if I moved to Dallas, as opposed to staying in Florida, that would cause embarrassment for my parents, who were very prideful and wanted to celebrate the fact that their children lived in a close proximity to them, and that their children loved them so much that they would fly from another country, give up their lives to be with them. And I did not want to be the cause of any kind of embarrassment, okay? Plus, I thought that a good, dutiful daughter doesn't abandon her parents who might get old one day and go and live their life. I don't know where that thinking came from, but I'm telling you, it was real and it was strong. The other thing that was holding me back is this friend that I had who always seemed to land on her feet. And so I would run my ideas for my life by her. And she would almost be my resident naysayer, right? And I'm just thinking about this. She was a resident naysayer in my life. Her job was to put down and put me off any ideas that I had for my life. And so that just really derailed what I wanted to do, because I cared about her opinion so much and her life seemed, quote unquote, perfect. And she was a go-getter and had all of her ducks in a row. So if she said something that I wanted to do or was doing was not the right thing and I was on the wrong track, I believed her. And you want to know something? I think I enjoyed having a resident naysayer in my life because it gave me the permission not to take risks. And you know what? Taking risks means being bold. And I didn't want to be bold. So having someone say, no, ridiculous idea. Why would you do that? It gave me a free pass not to take action in my own life. So in other words, I handed my power over to people in my life and I adjusted my plans and my dreams to fit in with what they think. No. I now know that that is just the complete wrong way to go about living this one life that we have that isn't even a dress rehearsal. It's the real thing. We do not get to come back and do this again. The more that we sit in this space where we're allowing these obstacles to get in the way of our happiness, we are losing precious time. And before you know it, bam, 20 years of your life have gone past. The next step to choosing yourself first, and this one is so important, you've got to get over the need to be liked. If you're going through life with the sole motivation of making sure everyone is happy in your life, everyone is happy at work, everyone is happy in your personal life, everything is happy in your family, in your relationships, eventually that is going to show up and you're going to have to deal with it sooner or later anyway. So why not deal with it now? We are so focused sometimes, some of us, on this idea of people pleasing, making sure that everyone else has what they need, even if that means that we don't. But this idea of going along to get along and not wanting to ruffle feathers or rock boats, it just doesn't work long term. And as you get older, this is the one thing that people start to realize, like, there's a reason why I believe that people have what used to be called midlife crises, and I don't call them a midlife crisis anymore. I call it a midlife reanalysis. I think it's natural that when you go through different phases of life, that you should stop and analyze what's going on. The problem is that when you're in your 20s and 30s, you're so busy doing life, right? That you don't make the time to stop. And it really catches up with you around your 40s. And if you speak to anyone, even if you're listening and you haven't really even thought about this yet, you will have to agree. Speak to anyone who is or who has been in their mid-40s. There's just something that happens. And it might even start a little bit earlier than that, right? But there's a reason why there's this concept of the midlife crisis. It's not a crisis at all. It's a deep dive into your life and what's important to you. And I think many women find when they get to this part of their life that they start looking back and realizing, oh my goodness, I have spent so much time on everyone else, on a relationship, on a job, on a boss, on a colleague, on friends, and every other area of life. But they often ask themselves, like, where was I in my life? And this idea of needing validation from everyone else, needing to be filled up by someone letting us know that we're doing a great job and we're so likable and we're so nice. How does that help us to achieve our dreams? It really doesn't. So you do not want to have to wait until you get to your 40s to start to think about what you want. You have to think about that now, and you've got to set a plan in place where you're going to make changes. But the problem is when you decide to make changes and you start to execute them, you're going to piss people off. There are going to be people who don't like you and who don't like what you're doing. And these people are often people that are the closest to you. And it can be the most devastating thing when you've given yourself to everyone else in your life, right? And then you want to do something for yourself now, and then they don't like it, or they don't like the new you that you've become. I know from personal experience, and I have had people in my life that have gone through this very same experience. They have gone through a change. They've adjusted the things that they prioritize, and then they're hit with this kind of backlash of disapproval. And it is something that you just have to know comes with the territory. When you want to better yourself and you want to go after your dreams, you are going to have to kind of understand that some relationships are going to be different. And some relationships might even have to come to an end. And that, although it's hurtful and it's disappointing and it's really sad, to be frank, it's necessary. And the sooner you can get that already in your mind and expect it, the easier it is to go through this transition, because you have to understand that people want to keep you where they understand you and where you've always been. They want to keep you in a box or a bubble. It's a place of familiarity. You've always been this way. So when you go and you decide to make a change, people don't understand it. And it can come with a lot of negativity, let's put it that way. But does that mean that you should stop your plans and halt your plans? No, absolutely not. There are dreams that you have. There are aspirations that you have. There are gifts inside you. And to not allow those to flourish is to do yourself the biggest disservice, because that means that you are not living the truest expression of yourself. And sometimes it means that you're living someone else's life or someone else's version of life. Nobody needs an imitation of someone else. These people around that are living their lives, they're already living their lives. So you going and emulating that life because you want to fit in doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. And when you put it in those terms, that makes sense. I think the problem is we just don't talk about this enough. We're so consumed with just making sure that we're benchmarking and, they're there in life. I'm here in life. I'm almost where I should be. But that isn't the way to navigate life. It's a really restrictive way of living your life. It's not expansive. It's not exciting. It doesn't spark creativity because you're not creating a life for yourself. If you're going about life that way, you're copying other people. You're emulating them, or you're emulating society. But here's the thing. There's a quote that I found ages ago, and it said, you might as well be yourself because everyone else is taken. I thought to myself, that is so true. Why are you not being yourself when everyone else is taken? Understand that you are going to have people that do not like the path that you're about to go on. And that is okay. I wanted to let you know that I am not the only one that has recognized that when you decide to live your life differently and when you chase your dreams, you end up feeling that you have disappointed, let down other people in your life, or that you don't get the support that you need. You find that you've supported all of these people with their hopes and dreams. You've supported them in everyday ways. And now you want to go off and do something. They're not there. The author of You Are a Badass, Jen Sincero, said it best when she said the number one question she gets asked is, what do you do when the people closest to you don't support your growth? Think about that. So that means there are other people out there that know that when you want to go down a different path, they're finding that people don't support them. And she goes on to say that the main reason that they don't support your growth is because you're killing off the person they love and you are changing who you are. And they are comfortable with who you are and who you've been. And so when you decide to change, you're killing off their body, right? Or whatever you are to them. And you're screwing up their reality because you are part of their reality. And I thought about this and I thought, wow, that is so profound. This idea that just by living your life can feel to other people that you're killing off their friend or their spouse, their daughter, whatever you are to them. And wow, So I have left that in the show notes. So if you want to watch what Jen Sincero has to say in a little bit more detail, I definitely encourage you to do that, because it really helps when you hear other people who have been through it have their opinions that you can listen to. And the other person that says this is Dave Goggins. He talks about so much. He has this wonderful biography called Can't Hurt Me, and it is profound. I think it's been life-changing for me, to be honest, because he is so direct about his experiences. And he's a guy, and he also talks about going through phases in his life where his only motivation was to fit in and be liked and be accepted and to be validated. And so this, again, isn't something that is just exclusive to women. But obviously, as a woman, I'm speaking from my own personal experience. But he goes on to say that if you do not show up as your true, authentic self, you are doomed. Okay? And he says that you will never figure out who you are. You'll never live up to your dreams and your ambitions. And you will start to live like the people that you want to be like so much and emulate them instead of living your dreams. And he talks about this notion that if you live that way, you lose your power. And the ultimate power is owning yourself. And he says that you have to be who the you are every day of your life and never care about anyone who gets in your way that says you are not doing something the proper way. I think that what he did for me, David Goggins, is he gave me the permission to be more cutthroat. I can't think of a politically correct word. I had never been that way. And so it's really hard for me to say that, right? But I had to be ruthless and cutthroat about getting people out of my life that were making me feel bad about my decisions. It was stifling me. So what he did in listening to his words and his experience is he gave me permission to do the same. You know, you don't become a horrible person because you are putting yourself first or you are living the life that you want to live. And no one should make you feel that way. And so, again, I have left his speech down in the show notes so that you can listen to him yourself. And I hope that you get some motivation from him because he is just straight to the point and very direct. And that brings us on to step number 3 of choosing yourself first, which is you got to stop asking people for permission. You do not need to ask people for permission to live your life. And if you're sitting there waiting for a permission slip from the principal to go and live your life, then you'll be waiting a long, long time. And I want you to understand this. And I always say that often the people who don't believe in your dreams end up being inspired by them. So think about that, right? You may have this great idea that people don't agree with, but when you actually achieve that dream, all of a sudden you've inspired them, or there's an acceptance in them that, wow, I didn't think it was going to work, but clearly it did and I was wrong. If you're sitting there and you're trying to get permission to go and live your dreams, it doesn't work. And I thought about this interview with J-Lo, Jennifer Lopez. She was talking about how her mom thought it was the wrong thing for her to pursue an acting and a singing career. Her mom actually said to her that, you can't even sing. And it doesn't matter what you think of J-Lo or not and her singing ability. It matters that her mom felt it okay to tell Jennifer Lopez that she shouldn't pursue an acting or singing career. Now, I don't know whether it was to do with her age or whatever it was, but from my understanding of Jennifer Lopez's story is that her mum wanted her to take a more traditional route in life, right? Go to university, the whole typical life that we all get sold. on social media, on TV and everything else, the safe life. But what did she do? Do you think she was waiting around for her mum's permission? No, because she didn't get her mum's permission. She went off and she lived her life. And I don't think she's done too badly in life. And whatever ups and downs she has had, she's had more success than anything else, because her success is measured by fulfilling her dreams. And as you can see from all that I've mentioned, from Jen Sincero to Dave Goggins, and even the example that I gave with Jennifer Lopez, you've just got to make a decision that you are enough. Your dreams are enough. And you've got to stop asking for permission to live your dreams. Step 4 in choosing yourself first is one that I had to kind of figure out for myself. And it's, you've got to stop making excuses and make bold moves instead. There's another wonderful quote by Jen Sincero, and I think it's so profound. And it says, if you're serious about changing your life, you'll find a way. If you're not, you'll find an excuse. And it's that simple. And I'm going to say it again. If you're serious about changing your life, you'll find a way. And if not, you'll find an excuse. So you've got to be willing to make bold moves. You've got to be able to take a chance on yourself. And whatever it is that you're trying to do, you've just got to go and do it. Make a plan and get it done. Stop finding reasons why you can't do something. That doesn't matter whether it's that you don't want to be in your relationship, but you're making all the reasons and excuses why you have to stay. Or you don't want to be in a profession or a career or a job, but you're making lots of reasons why you can't choose another choice, right? Because making bold moves and putting an end to excuses is really just saying that I'm not going to keep giving myself a way out of doing what I need to do. You've got to stop letting yourself off the hook for not showing up for yourself and doing what you need to do to live the best life. It's that simple. So whatever your thing is that you need to do in order to live your life, what steps you have to take to make that happen, you just got to go and do it, right? And so please understand that making a move means that you're going to have to do things that you're scared of, but you're going to do them anyway. One of the scariest things for me was leaving my teaching profession and deciding to become a flight attendant at the age that I was in my mid-40s, not knowing anything about the actual day-to-day life of a flight attendant, knowing that I wouldn't be paid for a month, knowing that I may not possibly get through the program, but I did it anyway. Another thing that was scary for me and was a bold move was moving from Florida that I had now got used to in some ways. I didn't like it, but I was used to it. And then deciding to move to Dallas and start all over again. But I did it anyway. And there are many more examples that I can give you of things that I was scared to do, but I did them anyway. And so if I can do it and I can put myself out there, then you can do it. So the last part of choosing yourself first, at least in my view, is learning from people who are already masters in what you want to do. And whenever I say this to people that I'm coaching or friends and family, they kind of have a blank expression on their face like, what? Because I'm asking them really to go and take action. So you have this dream, and usually what's happened is the people I'm speaking to have a fixed mindset, right? So they're telling me all the reasons why they cannot pursue the dream that they want. And it's usually, I can't because it's going to require money. I'm going to have to wait until my children get older if they have children. Or, oh my goodness, I can't do that. What are people going to think? Or I'll have to do that later on in life. Or even I've heard people say, I'll do that next lifetime. Seriously. Now, if you think about that, there are people all over the world that are living your dream. Instead of sitting with yourself and coming up with reasons not to pursue it, why not go and find out from people who are living your dreams how they did it? Because if you're sitting there coming up with reasons why, because of how you grew up or your financial situation as it currently stands, I promise you that there is somebody who is living your dream that has had it worse than you have. You've got to go and find people that have made the impossible possible. It is as simple as that. You have to realize that people meet you where they are in life, and they're only going to give you advice oftentimes based on what they would be willing to do. And if they are not willing to take risks in their life, and they're of a fixed mindset and they think that things can't change and they just have to deal with the hand that they've been dealt, then they don't have it in them. They don't have the capacity to help you along your journey in living out your dream. So I really want you to think about how important it is to make sure that you put yourself in places where you're around people who are doing what you want to do. What this looks like is, if you want to go and travel, for example, go on a site like Facebook or meetup.com and find like-minded people who have either done this already or they want to do that. Okay? That's one example. If you want to change careers, then you're going to start going to career fairs or start getting in the room with people and networking with people who are doing what you want to do. And that's not so that you can bypass any steps that you have to take to get that job. It's to make sure that you have the opportunity to talk to people about it so that you can really understand what is doing that dream like. So it doesn't matter whether it's traveling, whether it's having your dream job or your dream business. Whatever it is you want to do, you've got to go and ask people who are masters at it. Instead of just holding on to your dream and deciding that it isn't worth pursuing for whatever reason, I invite you, please, to go and start becoming curious and learning everything you need to know about that dream before you bury it. Give it a chance to breathe. As we wrap up today's episode, I really hope that it's been thought-provoking, and I hope that it's even been jarring at times, because I've managed to poke a hole through some of those excuses that you have for not choosing yourself first and not going after your dreams. That brings me to 3 things that I would love for you to do for me. The first thing is to check out the videos from Mel Robbins, Jen Sincero, and Dave Goggins that all speak to how important it is to choose yourself first, and why this is not selfish, but necessary in order for you to show up in your life feeling happy and fulfilled, which actually makes you kinder and more generous than you currently are. The second thing that I would like you to do is leave a comment down below letting us know what in this episode resonated with you. And the last thing I would love you to do is to please follow us on Instagram. That's it. 3 things. So I will catch you on the next episode. And until then, go and choose yourself first. Thanks for listening to our episode. Do yourself a favor. Go to justdothedamnthing.com, click on the Get Inspired page, And there you'll find a number of resources that will give you the inspiration that you need to look at life in a completely different way, including PDFs that you can print out that will help you to be more specific about what you want. On that website, you'll also see all of our social media links, including all the different platforms that you can listen to this podcast. However you're listening today, I need you to do me a favor. Please click the like, subscribe, and comment down below. And of course, share with your friends and loved ones. Until next time, just do the damn thing.